Let me ask you a question. If you lost your memory, would you continue to have a problem with mental health? Well, I think the answer is probably not. Because you are the sum total of your memories and, of course, your experiences, but your experiences live in memory. So if you lost your memory, you would not remember to have a problem with your mental health. You might still be able to drive, although you wouldn't know where you were going and you wouldn't know where you'd been, and so you'd be permanently lost. Now, human history, in my view, is really a history of conflict. Typically, it's a dominant man who's working out his own psychological issues and making the world the victim of it. You know, my dad didn't treat me that way, my mother didn't treat me well enough, so now I'm going to make everybody suffer. I'm going to conquer everything to make it so that I feel like I'm a big person. And typically, conflicts are between at least two factions, and the people who actually suffer are the civilians, the ones in the middle. Now, human beings also embody conflicts. Every day we have conflicts, and these conflicts are not between different people. I'm not talking about actual conflicts between different individuals. They're typically internal conflicts. They're conflicts between belief systems, or they're conflicts between versions of reality. Let me give you an example. It's very common when people struggle with low self-esteem to say, I don't feel like I have any value. I don't feel good enough. I feel like if people knew what I was really like, they wouldn't like me. It's also common for these very same people to be popular, to have friends and to have acquaintances, to have long-term relationships with all sorts of things, right? So in external reality, they look perfectly ordinary and normal. But in internal reality, they don't feel that they have any value. That's a conflict. And the people who struggle with this cannot tell which version is accurate. That's a conflict, because am I really not a very nice person? Do I really not have any value? It feels like that's true, but actually people seem to like me. Now, it is fair that people use compensation strategies to make the belief that they have about themselves seem untrue. Try extra hard to be friendly, try extra hard to be a listener, try extra hard to do nice things, always be there for people. And sometimes they say, well, that's why I have friends, because I try really, really hard. But let's just bring it back to the basics. This internal conflict never goes away unless you do something about it. Now, the bit of you that you call you is the civilian in this scenario. The bit of you that you call you, I, me, is the helpless victim between these two belief systems or these two realities. And you're the one that suffers because you're the one that constantly, the bit of you that you call you is constantly in conflict. We are always in conflict, but we seek peace. How do we get peace? Well, if we allow these two factions to continue to fight, I don't feel like I have any value, but I know I have friends. If we allow that fight to continue, nothing changes. So what we have to do is we have to try to recalibrate our internal world, try to recalibrate this conflict so that it's more in line with reality. And the reality always is that you're underestimating your value. You're underestimating, yourself in so many different ways. And when we push that and challenge that a little bit, it's quite, reasonably easy to make you feel that you have value, to make you feel that you're a good person, to make you feel that people like you because of who you are, which actually comes into line with your experience as an external reality. Therefore, we have much less or no conflict. Now, you can only do that by working on yourself, by challenging that negative belief system and any other conflicts that you have. We've often got, way more than one conflict. Anxiety would be a good example, right? You feel unsafe, but actually you're just as safe as everybody else. That's a classic conflict. And that's a big one because it creates a lot of, I call it friction, internal friction, psychic friction that causes a lot of upset. Everybody who's anxious says, I would like to have some peace. Well, yeah, okay. You have to dial down the conflict. You've got to challenge the internal, negative, unhelpful, inaccurate and untrue beliefs that create this conflict. They're always inside of you and they're always open to being challenged. But you have to have the tool set to do it, and you've got to put a little bit of time and effort into it. But imagine, what would it be like to no longer have conflict but to have peace, to feel at peace. If you have a history of anxiety, you'd say, I would give anything to feel at peace. Well, you don't need to give everything. You just need to put a little bit of time and effort into working on yourself. The path that I lay out is called Anxiety Wizard, and it's available. It's really easy to get started. You can use it on any device, and it will start to turn down these internal conflicts that you have. So I hope to see you on the inside of Anxiety Wizard.